Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So, on the back of the last video, the bit in the middle when I was talking about politics and all that kind of stuff, it was that was the actual reason I was going to do the video previously before I got the video removed, and it was after seeing Liz Truss talking about, I think she did some article where she's about no payouts, no more help financially that way, and it just made me think about why is it we keep electing these people. I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter which side, whether it's Labour or Tory or Democrat or Republican, wherever you are, all these parties, they all want to keep the status quo. They always want to keep the same system. They do little tweaks. Some of them it's more about economics and business, some is more about people, but at the end of the day they don't want to change the system. They still want to keep it. No country wants to stop using money or changing the way we all live and ownership and all that kind of stuff. And it made me think about this cost of living crisis of being artificial and man-made, in the sense that, because of the oil and gas hikes in prices, which have strangely come in tandem, they're to do with Russia and Ukraine's war, and this... but the prices have inflated, even though actually it's the same oil that we're getting. There is no price on oil. All these fossil fuels were given to us free in abundance for us all to be able to use wisely, which we don't, of course. And there's a lot of fossil fuels that we have around us that we don't use because it's cheaper to outsource them, it's cheaper to buy them from someone else because labour is cheaper, or they give a better deal than if we were to set up our own infrastructure and drill or mine for the same things. So there's lots of countries that have these oils or fossil fuels that they could get themselves, but it's more expensive and it's cheaper, the deal they get from other countries. Which is why Western countries often use countries like Ukraine and Russia to get their stuff, and other countries. And same like how manufacturers of clothes and things use India and other countries because cheaper labour, they don't have to pay so much. So it's artificial in the sense of the oil and gas. The oil is still there, the same amount of oil, the same oil that you're getting through your pump when you're filling up your car, or you're using for the electricity of your cooker or for your heater, for gas, is exactly the same. It has no price tag on it. We human beings put a price tag on it, and that's because of our caveman instinct of this that came 100 or 1,000 years ago, of deciding that we were going to run our lives this way, have this system where everything's based on money. And I don't know why we don't, despite all these illustrations of this, people don't seem to wise up, because we all think, wow, this is the way it is, this is the only way it could be, even though we know historically we've had different systems throughout time, and yes, maybe this one is the best out of those bad ones that were there previously, but of course the best one would be to realise that we're all human beings and that we should stop all these divisions and start working together and get rid of money. And the aspect of, like with the Ukraine and Russia, what's that all about? It's about land. They're fighting over land. Vladimir Putin, Zelensky are fighting over land, the occupation of land. Putin will be dead one day. Zelensky will be dead. We'll all be dead. Everyone will taste of death. And this false idea of giving you some kind of legacy. There's no such thing, or to be a footnote in history. How vain is that, and how meaningless is that, really? Just because in the future people will talk about how great Putin was, that he got back Ukraine and the USSR and all that kind of rubbish, where the land was given to all of us equally. All of us own every single part that we found ourselves on, or we don't own it. It's someone else's if you believe in God, and we're just the stewardships of this place that we found ourselves upon. So this stupid idea of fighting for a bit of land, that these people in power, they stay in their bunkers safe while they send the other people who think that fighting is somehow glorious or noble, whereas it isn't. There's no, you're losing your one existence. You're fighting someone else's war. You're fighting for a bit of land. A bit of land. You're never going to be able to take it with you. When you're dead, you're dead. And this is the concept. This is the caveman concept that we've come up with. This idea of ownership and possession and pride. And this is what, these things are fueling us, along with system and the money, of keeping a humanity in perpetual suffering. And we're perpetually voting for these people and keeping them in because they're going to keep the system in. No one stands up and says, I want to get rid of money, I want to get rid of the system, I want to get rid of the ownership of land. It's everyone's. Even the religious people are not saying it. And so what is it going to take for people to understand that we're all human beings? We're all exactly the same. Why shouldn't we all have the same kind of standard of living? And there's no reason why we shouldn't have it. What's the reason why, like with this cost of living that now the food price is going up? It's all artificial, man-made. It's based on a system of economy that makes suffering because of the amount of money or gold or how much prices are. But the actual intrinsic things that have been given to us freely, the things that, the trees, the plants, the earth, all the things that grow, everything that we've decided we're going to put a price tag on, they were given to us freely. What right do we have to put a price tag on that? If we could put a price tag on oxygen, we would. And we'd be paying to breathe, like we're paying to drink water or use the fossil fuels that have been given to all of us, just because someone's come up with how to get them and mine them and how to produce them, how to make these things. That's the problem, the system, the way we've decided that we're going to, like with global warming, if that does exist, the idea that's because you've got people manufacturing the same things millions of times just to get that money, just because of competition. So you have, 15 different car companies making a car, different colours, different standards, different price ranges, so you have a good one and a not so good one, or phones and all that kind of stuff, where we're wasting our energy as humans. People, their whole life is about getting money so that they can live, so they can have a holiday, so they can have a house, so they can have a mortgage, so they can give their children a better life, so they can buy things and possess things. Everything's about money. And we're wasting our energy, wasting our time on doing all these things and not realising this, and yet still voting in the same people that are going to keep that perpetually running forever. And we're going to keep that suffering. We're seeing this kind of suffering with global war and cost of living now, where countries in the third world have been feeling that for generations. And we cry when it's Band-Aid and when we see these adverts of WaterAid and all that kind of stuff of them drinking filthy water. Why do they need to drink filthy water? I ask you that question. We know, we used to drink filthy water 200 years ago, dysentery and all that kind of stuff. And the Romans came and they built aqueducts and all that kind of stuff. We know how to clean water. We have reservoirs doing it. We know human beings have the technology. They have the mind power. We have the amount of people that we could build a heaven on earth. We don't have to wait till we die to get to it, because we're stopping ourselves from doing it because we're keeping this system that's stopping us. We're keeping this caveman instinct of possession of land and of this system that is going to keep the problem is of course those people in power and those people with wealth who don't have those sufferings and don't care maybe about those sufferings, or they don't realise that because we're all born into this and we're all taught this at school and through TV and through everything and through each other, that this is the only way, this is the way that it is. You remember as a child, you say, well, why can't we just print money? I remember saying that. And my dad saying, well, that's just the way it is. We can't do that because of this, da 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 da. Well, of course we can. We're our own captors. We've made slaves of ourselves by have this idea of that we can't change. Of course we can change. We have changed throughout time. So when is the moment going to be when people realise that even those rich and wealthy people who have the power to do it, because the thing is, they can't fucking agree. They can't fucking agree on anything, these people in power. Well, maybe this is a problem with humanity, really, rather than those people in power. They can't agree to, this, that and the other, because their mindset, that's the problem. The system's never going to change because the mindset is that I want to possess things. I want to be powerful. I want to be better than you. I don't want you to be equal with me. I don't, that's the mindset. of people, even if they don't say it, even if they don't think it, is in their mindset, is in all of our mindsets, because that's how we've been brought up, in this idea of possessing land, of having Christmas presents, of having, this is yours, this is mine. No, I want it. I want to play with it. No, it's mine. It's not yours. This is the mindset that we have, and that runs through all of our daily lives and all of those people in power. And even if they because the thing is, they're never going to be able to see it. Most people don't see it. Most people don't see that we human beings are creating this suffering to ourselves. We don't have like this omnipresent God who's forcing down on us that you must do this or you must do that, or some kind of evil dictator in the sky that's saying you mustn't do this, or I will kill you if you do this. We're completely free, and we've chosen to keep following a system that's causing suffering around the world for human beings with their one existence that they have. So that's what I wanted to say in that last video that I didn't get to. And the core of the pursuit of truth is trying to make people see that this way of living isn't the only way, and when are we going to do something about it? Even if us little people come up and our little voices and shout and scream from the top of our lungs, the problem is it's to do with the schooling, to do with how we're taught. Maybe eventually it will drip through these videos and other YouTubers and TV and those writers that see things and want to make people aware that money isn't the only way, and this system is corrupt and it isn't working for the majority. It's only working for the rich and powerful, keeping them in perpetual control and keeping the suffering ongoing. When you look at these third world countries and you see people dying of early age, you see even with medical things in this country, cancer, look what we did with COVID, how quickly we were to get to it. What's stopping us for cancer? Because we've got hundreds of different charities that are working against each other. Maybe some of them do share their research and information, all trying, and pharmaceutical companies making money out of, chemotherapy, and maybe not wanting to change, because if they found a cure, a DNA change or something like that, or a tablet that would eradicate it like that, that's their revenue gone, because our mindset is about money, is about competition, about keeping that going, because we have to have money to buy houses, to keep our jobs, and etc. So we're those pressures, and don't believe they don't exist. They do exist. They exist. When if someone has to do something right, but it has a financial implication, you may not do it. You see something, you see someone do something wrong, someone say something wrong, someone do something, and you don't step in because you're worried about your job, or you're worried about this, that, and the other. We've seen these things. This happens because that's part of human nature, because we have that fear, and we know that we're all part of the money system. And so therefore that same in everywhere, in power. That's why there's corruption, and why people say things and don't say things when they see corruptions going on. That's why pharmaceutical companies, it must get in the way of, money must get in the way of them in their endeavours, because if every country worked together and it wasn't about money and competition, like with COVID, in a sense, but even there was some money made out of it, then we could cure all these things. So what I'm saying, this idea of changing our system will benefit humanity, because we won't need to work as much, because we won't need to do all this the stuff that doesn't need to do, the manufacturing of competition of the same, 200 different vehicles that do exactly the same thing, or 100 different fairy liquids, washing up power liquid, whatever you want to call it. We won't need to waste our effort on that. We can waste our effort, or put our energy, put our time to finding these cures, working together, not working apart. Everyone working together as one team, and we won't have the restriction of money. It'll only be the restriction of us working it out, us, putting our time to it, this, that, and the other. Not having to, we can't do that because we need to do this because that's more financially profitable. All that kind of stuff goes out the window. It helps humanity. Humanity will progress, and these things that kill us, these sufferings that go on in the third world, where people are dying of diseases that we've already found cures for, or their lifestyle of living and having diseases that end their life shortly because of the lifestyle. We can eradicate all that because we know how to do it, and we have the resources in manpower, and we have the resources in all the things that we've been given freely. What's stopping us? What's stopping you? What's stopping me? What's stopping all of us from living that existence? Ourselves. Or those in power. Well, not all of us, because we put those people in power and we accept it. I don't know how it's ever going to change. The problem is, like I say, the mindset. And that will take a long time to break it down. It's taken thousands of years to get to this stage. It's going to take thousands of years. So we're going to have 1,000 years of unnecessary suffering until eventually it does get to the stage. And they're going to look back and think how stupid we were. How we gave our lives away to the pursuit of money, to the pursuit of waste, of the pursuit of competition and possession and pride. Take care, dear. God bless and peace.